Absolutely. Okay, guys, so we're all here excited to hear more about marketing. I'm going to leave you guys to it, and I'll be here on the chat if you need anything. Enjoy.
Perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for helping facilitate this, and welcome everybody. Thank you for putting in your time. I think we'll make the most or the biggest effort to make sure you're getting a lot of value for your time and attention. I'll start by introducing myself a little bit. I'm Omri. I'm the co-founder of Anchor. We're a revenue automation system that basically helps you get paid easily. And we're doing everything from proposals to invoicing automatically, and then basically streamline the payments automatically so that hopefully you can retire in the Bahamas or improve your business. And it gives me really great pleasure to introduce everybody to Gaynor here. If people don't know her, I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised to discover a person that luckily I got to meet with her, I think roughly around the early stages of me discovering the accounting space. So Gaynor is the author of multiple successful books, but I think if I need to, say anything, when I got prepared to this, I wanted to find something that best describes you. You keep surprising me with all the things you do, and the only thing that came up is Renaissance woman, because you're doing so many things that it's very interesting to discover that you have capabilities on the business side, on the marketing side, writing, then strategizing, and then you're this unbelievable force of execution, and everything is done so pleasantly in the background, so you keep surprising me, and I'm very excited that we're able to share this time, because for me, my passion and what's driving our activity is coming to the accounting space, trying to make a real dent in how people run their practice and how it, what implication it does on their life, and revenue is the oxygen of the business. And I think this is what we're starting from. And the topic here is how to generate more of it and make it more accessible with less confusion and less time. So welcome, help me everybody to welcome Gaynor to this talk.
Hey everybody, and thank you, Omri, because I love working with accounting firms. I work with a lot of influencers in the space, but I also work with tech companies, and there's nothing that makes me happier than working with people in tech who care enough to actually make something that works for their customers. And Anchor, like from start to finish, since we met and we talked about all kinds of different things, from like business philosophy through to the product, and you guys are doing it for the right reasons, so that's always awesome. I'm happy to be here for sure.
Thank you so much. And I think it won't be fair to people listening if we'll jump right in without give us a little bit of background as to how you started in business, how you got into marketing, and most interesting, how you ended up from everything in the accounting space.
Yeah, well, I always had, I guess at the beginning of my thought process of what I wanted to do, when it came to choosing college and things like that, I always had it in my mind that people had dreams, and one of the best ways to help people was to help them bring their dreams to life. And so I know that sounds kind of corny, but at the same time, I think businesses are all somebody's dream when they begin. And so if you can help people execute and make them reality, that's like my nirvana. And I know people were like, really? It's like, yeah, I mean, that's what I love to do. And that's why I'm a business coach. I went to school to learn about consumer behavior and marketing first, because I wanted to understand what was in people's minds. And then I got into fintech right at the early stages. I worked at Thomson Reuters. So I used to write like 20-page ultra text renewal letters, like back, 25 years ago. And I just loved the space because it was like business owners and, really smart accounting people, and my skills like complement what accountants do well, because you don't want me doing your books, but I can do like simple books. I've learned that with my own business, but a lot of accountants don't have the kind of communication PR skills. And so it's just been like a match made in heaven, and I love it. So that's a little bit about how I got here, and love helping like people's dreams come true in business.
And how long so 25 years ago was Thomson Reuters, and like how long have you been in the accounting space doing what you do, which is, I'll share, the way I'm perceiving charisma, and I'm perceiving, what you're doing is you're at most of the junctions in terms of thought leadership, distribution of content, and you see and know most of all the movers and shakers in the space, but you're also able to help them take their game to a new level, and then educate others in a different manner. So how long have you been doing this to reach to this point, like just in terms of timelines?
So I worked actually in ad agencies that specialized in banking and fintech, like early in my career. And so that was sort of like my gateway drug into working with a lot of executives, and did a lot of corporate communications. And then I got into the software when I started at Thomson. And from there, I went back into banking, fintech for a little bit. Then in 2013, I started my own company, and one of my first clients was Rootworks when that was getting started. And I mean, they're just like fabulous over there. I have made a lot of friends, and just kind of kept picking up accounting firms as clients. And then the influencers came. I mean, there's no greater influencer than Darren Root. He was kind of one of the first. So I had the pleasure of working with him, and I still see him. And it just kind of grew from there. So I've had my own business now for 10 years, but I've been in this space really for about 20 plus, in the fintech about 25 years.
Amazing. So I think we can call you one of the pillars for at least the industry as we know it now, and what we see now, in especially in our circles. And a quick dive. So first of all, thank you for sharing this. I think it's a good background for all of us. And right now, I'm putting myself in the listener's shoes, and I'm thinking, okay, I came here to learn how can I improve my revenue, how can I make more of with my business. And so I want to start with the basics. So let's say we have someone that right now is not doing any marketing at all. They're doing their practice, they're doing their craft, but they're not really doing anything. So how would you describe, and I think it's like an ecosystem, I would love you to describe like an ecosystem of marketing, and then help us understand what are the stepping stones and priorities of doing of getting started.
Well, I think if somebody is already practicing, they've already figured out how to create services that somebody wants. And I think that's where, a lot of people, when they think about marketing, they're thinking about the tactics first. And it's like, oh, I need to go and do some social media. I need to go and do email marketing. I need to do, have a website, all of these things. But where I usually start with people is, what is it that you want, right? What are you trying to achieve with marketing? Because you either want to have your existing clients do more with you. So that's, and that's an area that a lot of people don't even consider. They're always thinking marketing is about just like bringing in more people, when, the gold is really with the people that you're already working with. So one, you can find out a lot, from your existing customers, what's working and what's not. And then two, what similarities exist amongst the people that you're serving successfully, that you can go out into the market and find more of those people. So I I guess first tip would be figure out what it is that you're trying to do before you just say, I need to go and do social and I need to do this. Come up with what your plan is for attracting the type of clients that you want. You know, it's very inefficient and very expensive to just go out to the market, and they call it spray and pray, right? So it's like, I'm just gonna like get my brand out there and then hope that it works. And that is really inefficient.
I think this is really, we have a golden nugget that I want to, you know, step back to. Like I asked you, okay, what you do? I think like what you said is, you know, understand what is it that you want, and then you broke it up to, you know, either extend existing revenue and understanding your existing clients or add more. But I think if we linger a little bit about more this question, this is something that fascinates me, and I think it's a question that's very difficult to answer, not in a marketing perspective, but, you know, a business perspective. Because after a certain amount of time, there's already, you know, wheels in motions, and we're getting into habits of doing things in a certain way that we no longer, you know, on a consistent basis, you know, ask, okay, where do we want to take this business? How does it serve me? What kind of, you know, lifestyle I wanted to generate for me, what kind of income I wanted to generate, and people are just in the motions. And I think stopping, like even before what type of marketing or how to dissect it, like what is the outcome that you want to get out of this business? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to scale it? Do you want, you know, to have a legacy behind you, or it's just you want to create a cash cow and then, you know, be, you know, with your kids or at the beach or, you know, on the Netflix binge, everyone with his own thing. But because you know, all the software, everything is like, we save you time, we save you money, and we give you time to be with your kids. I don't know. I know a lot of people that this will be a really big turnoff if, you know, as a sales pitch, and I much rather be with Netflix. But kidding aside, I think this is critical, because if you understand as a business what outcome you want to achieve, I think it will dramatically influence what strategy and even tactics you'll take to implement that. And we're seeing it with the businesses that we're serving. And because there's no point in scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling, because you are able to, at some point in time, you know, we saw that this happening to a lot of businesses. They feel, okay, I'm just, you know, it became a job. It's no longer a business. I'm just, you know, I'm burned out. I'm doing so much and it's not what I wanted. So I love that. And I think a big part, and this is what we see Ron Baker speaking about, and there's others speaking in the same way, not necessarily like everybody, especially when you're talking about revenue and when you're talking about marketing, you think, okay, more clients, more clients, more clients, and not necessarily increasing the yield from the existing client. And this goes to adding, you know, different services, you know, collaborate, add more value in terms of understanding your clients better, and, you know, and optimize that. But this is, you know, I think we can dive to that a bit later.
So 2 points that kind of jumped to mind in what you just said was, you know, when it comes to actually increasing revenue of existing clients, I heard something, and I don't remember where I heard this, but I thought it was a great strategy to keep in mind, is think about what do your clients need before your core services and what do they need after your core services. So how could you add on that way? So obviously, you know, if we're talking about tax, you know, to get the return prepared, you need the accounting beforehand, but they also need tax planning after. And, you know, that's a no-brainer, but, you know, you can be creative in some other ways as well. You know, think about it that way. But there is one quote that I absolutely love because I think it really encapsulates how people should be thinking about increasing revenue. And it's by Harv T. Eker, who wrote, you know, The Millionaire Mindset. It is, I make a lot of money because I help a lot of people. And so the more people that you can help, the more money you're going to make. However, you know, there's also a bandwidth issue there. So if you want to help a lot of people, you know, as a sole practitioner, you're going to have to like set a limit on that. But if you want to help as many people as possible and scale your firm, and you know how to help them and what kind of help they need, like that's where the magic is, right? It's, I think the reason why, I've been successful in this space is because I truly do understand how an accounting firm works. I understand, the tax rules and regulations. I mean, we write about them, we like create content around them, but, we know our customers better than, a lot of people do. And so that's what resonates. So if I think accounting firms, again, when you're creating a niche in construction or you're creating a niche in legal services, you need to like understand what your construction people are doing all day. And that's going to look different than what a legal team is doing. And so you've got to structure your services and the marketing, accordingly.
Thank you. And when you're saying that, I'm thinking right now I'm exposed to a lot of conversations that are ongoing, whether it's with top practitioners or our own clients. And there's two feelings that are widespread that I'm seeing. One is that everybody right now, it's like it became the A word. Don't say advisory. It's like already been abused to that level. And people are feeling that, yeah, we're all about adding value and we're all about helping our clients, but there's a feeling of one, a burnout due to, many factors that, I think this has been talked to a lot. And the other is sort of a feeling, okay, we're being paid last. We're being, the last to, or they don't necessarily experience this wealth by, they're helping, they're doing their best. But right now, I think, there's sort of a transition phase in accounting in general, especially with, AI and a lot of innovation and a lot of tech companies coming in, and the space is changing. And I feel a big part of what will reinvent this profession and keep it relevant beyond technology is the relationship, is the trust that it's weaved into this profession. And I think that right now, this is something that is a big asset that the accounting industry doesn't really leverage to their advantage as much as they should. This is like, because it has a tendency to be commoditized as a profession, like, okay, you can do taxes here, here, and here, but the relationship you cannot commoditize. And I feel that this is something that we'll see more and more being talked about in marketing for accountants versus the old feature set. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, but this 1, 2, 3 is the same as everybody else's 1, 2, 3. So maybe if you can think with me for our audience and think, okay, so you have this, this is the value you have those relationships and you have the trust and reputation you've built over the years. So, and I know you were doing this with influencers and people that are thought leaders. So how can someone with a, ongoing practice can talk about what they're doing in a different fashion that will drive different results and differentiate them, easily or relatively easily from the crowd?
So this is actually really, to me, seems like a really easy question because but again, there's, maybe at the end we can like recap on, there's 3 to 5 things that I think are like so simple, but people are like, no, that's so simple, it's not going to work. And it's
Fighting.
and they're not expensive. I mean, I think I said it off the top, like your existing client base is gold. Like, who have you helped? How have you helped them? Share that with other people like those people. And that is like, people want to see the proven answer. They want to see, oh, hey, they're just like me. And look what they did for them. I didn't even know that was possible. Like case studies, just do case studies, and they could be downloads on your website. They could be little short videos where you talk to people, and post those like on YouTube or like on your website. Do like webinars in like association groups. So if you're helping, legal professionals, and you can, just contact the association of legal professionals in your state or, nationally. They are looking for subject matter experts. And again, like this is an area of, marketing, thought leadership that is not reserved for influencers on TikTok. Like I've been doing this like for like 25 years, and it is like the most effective thing because it demonstrates you're an expert. It lifts you up into the advisory space, and it shows how you help people. So it's like everything shows how you paint them the picture of how you can help them. And it doesn't really cost anything because most of your clients are probably sitting there going, oh, you think like that much of me that you want to highlight my business? Like, this is amazing. And so then there's the goodwill factor. You're promoting their business. Like, it's like if I could get everybody to do more case studies, like no matter what business you're in, like it would be a better world. It really would.
That's a cause. I wonder how many people will sign up. That's nice. So if I'm trying to summarize like this, just to, to points that we can remember. So one thing that, you bring to the surface is be proactive. Like, don't sit and wait, like actually be proactive with your existing clients, with, the associations and things that you have in your immediate reach. And then leverage those, both the information, both the things that you've done in the past. And, we'll dive into like tactics a bit later. But right now, I would love to invite people to ask questions. And if we get someone to, bring a dilemma or bring, his own or hers case, saying, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing, I'm counting for restaurants, I'm doing this. It's very difficult to, be different because everybody's offering the same. So please write questions and we'll tackle those. And in the meantime, I'd love to ask a little bit more about, how would you look? So someone's getting started, they want to do this, but we talked about burnout. My hands are full. It's already, it's difficult. Would you bring outside help to do this, to help with case studies or anything, or this is just another proxy to that relationship or to that information? And, how would you advise people that they're already, they're limited with resources to make the first step on this?
Well, I think if somebody's feeling like they need to be, they need to do marketing, it's because they're trying to achieve something in their business. And so you need to be intentional about what that is, which is what we just talked about. If you don't have the bandwidth in your practice, or, you don't want to do it yourself, then yes, I mean, having a third party help you with it is going to expedite the process. And it's also going to keep you accountable to keeping things moving along. And what I always say with, people who just, they have nothing, like if you're either starting a firm or you've never really done marketing, and start small and do like 3 things well, as opposed to trying to like create this like massive, marketing program.
Try and be specific for people listening. So what are the fundamentals, and then let's go higher than that. So fundamental naturally is a website and social pages on everything, but where do you take it from there?
So depending on what niches you're trying to go after, and niches could be certain type of client, we mentioned legal, there's nonprofit, all of those, but it's also service based too. Like and that's what I'm seeing a lot more with firms. Like we've got, tax resolution people, we've got tax planning people, we've got, just the client accounting services. And, I actually see a lot of CPAs who are, just doing the client accounting services, and then they're outsourcing tax. So think about what is it that you're trying to sell, And then, if we want to get really tactical, yes, you want to have case studies on your website that talks about that. You want to have some kind of lead generation on your website. And what I mean by that is you could have like an ebook about, a specific problem that you solve for your niche. And it's behind a form on your website. And then people need to go put in their information, they download it. That's where like a CRM would be useful because that information is going to go into your CRM. Then you can take the email addresses and start your email campaign. So that's, you can see the breadcrumbs start, here, and people are going, okay, that's a lot, but just start with, if you start with a website with like one lead generation piece on it, and an email campaign to like one specific niche, kind of refine what the messaging is. And then you can actually use that as sort of like your niche template so that you can say, okay, well, I built this for construction firms. Now I want to target legal firms. So I'm going to use the same structure, which is like the lead gen, the ebook, the emails through my CRM, but I'm going to change the messaging so that it fits with the legal firm.
So I wonder if we're talking about, above people's head, because I understand everything and I already have, oh yeah, we can optimize this. And instead of like, I already have even the tech stack to do this. But, so Charlotte's asking, as a very valid question, what 3 things should we start with? So narrowing the scope to give them something actionable. So if I'm trying to list it, it was have a website and have a lead generation mechanism. So it's either a blocked content that will engage them, or what would you advise?
Definitely website. That's no brainer. If you're going to do social media, which I would advise, that you do, please use LinkedIn. It is like the most underutilized platform for accounting firms. And I'm just like, why? Because it's B2B for the most part, unless you're, targeting, consumers and you're doing like individual tax prep or, tax resolution for individuals or something like that. But I mean, LinkedIn is where you can really position your firm as being credible experts in, specific niches, being that advisor with like really great, actionable content. So I would say website, have a presence on LinkedIn, connect with people on LinkedIn, connect with your clients on LinkedIn, and then some CRM email system. Because at the end of the day, I do see a lot of people who are building communities on social and they're all about social media. What happens when Facebook changes the rules? What happens when people no longer want to use TikTok and they're like on Be Real with Apple? You want to build your own list and have your own hubs. And that's where a website and an email list, to me, are like 2 of the most valuable things that you can have.
And like, what would you advise people to use in terms of, so website, it's like, it's a complete, like this is an issue, but in terms of, are there specific email or CRMs that you would recommend that, to build that with something that's easy to start, but good for a bit of scaling?
Sure. And I think Robert has a question, so maybe I'll just answer this and then we can take Robert's question. So I am an Infusionsoft partner. So we use Keep and Infusionsoft. However, that can be overwhelming and not necessary when you're first starting out. MailChimp is okay if you want a place to start. It has automations in it. I really like, even though I'm a Infusionsoft partner, we also service firms on HubSpot. The reason why I like HubSpot is because you've got the CRM, the website, and your email, plus a ton of upgrades and automations that you can add into it. So you can scale for sure.
Thank you. And we have Robert.
Hey, Robert, did you have a question?
I think he's muted. Can we unmute him?
No.
Okay. So
So
we'll
I
get back.
actually, oh, go ahead.
I don't know. You go ahead, please.
I have one other app to add to that, which I actually just started using with some firms, and it's called Growbots. I don't know if anybody's using Growbots at all,
Potentially.
potentially.
Like
So what
I-
it is it's another email marketing tool, but you only do really plain text emails. So if you're looking to send out emails that don't look like an email newsletter, you can use Growbots. But the magic of Growbots is that it has a database of prospects in it that are culled from like government records, but also LinkedIn and a bunch of other like business websites, and they update it all the time. So I've done some campaigns for clients on there where you can really effectively target like different niches, and so it's been pretty good. So if anybody wants to check out Growbots, it also integrates with HubSpot too. So it's nice.
We'll, don't feel the urge to write. We'll send links to everything afterwards for everything that's important and potentially could be beneficial. And I see we have a lot more questions, and I'm not keeping up. So, Carolyn,
Yeah.
want to talk?
There you go. Hey, Carolyn. She able?
Let's see. I think I
Yes.
see that she is, but she's on mute.
Okay, so I see that there's a question about marketing to tax problem resolution clients. So obviously, Omri, you and I are great friends with Tax Rep Network and Eric Green, and so we are familiar with those clients. And one of the greatest tips that I've seen some of those members of Tax Rep utilize is social media and being very specific in creating YouTube videos that answer specific problems for tax resolution. Because it's great for SEO. People are Googling, IRS, offers and compromise, what do I do to respond to an IRS letter, things like that. So that's definitely been effective. And I've actually seen, like, I was in Miami recently, and I've seen bus backs. So like transit, if you're trying to target specific geographic areas of individuals, that actually has seemed to be effective as well.
And do you feel like there's, I think from at least what I see, doing a localization of things versus going and doing it, statewide or trying to cover the entire country? Like most people that are looking for that most of them are kind of, they're bound to a physical place in that respect. Have you seen success with targeting specific areas or specific states or specific, like within state, doing, direct marketing in that segment?
So I think that's a good point, because I think there's different levels that I always think of when I think about marketing plans. Is one, you definitely want to take advantage of your local market. I still see a lot of firms who, relationships are made when you go out to your kids' ball games, or, if you're out in the community doing things and you want to have, your Google My Business, optimized for your location. You can do, if you have a lot of clients locally, then it makes sense to try and optimize for those relationships. But obviously now I actually have a program that's called Boundless Firm that's all about how to create a marketing plan that is like boundless so that you can actually service clients in all kinds of different countries and states. And, there's really like endless ways to cut up the market. But I have seen clients who utilize like direct mail marketing because it's still it's very targeted. If you have that mail list, or you can go to the post office and do geographic radius marketing, and it's unexpected in this day and age too. So, that might be for some higher level clients, that you're looking for, like legal firms and things like that. You could send them something that
Back
really,
offline.
oh, pardon me?
No. I'm saying, like, going back, instead of doing things online, actually doing them offline. Right now, it's like getting a physical letter. It's exciting.
Yeah, well, or sending out, I've had clients send out books, to different, leadership groups, and people think everybody just wants everything digitally, but it actually says a lot about the relationship when you take the time to do something that's not digital as well. So if you're looking for those higher level advisory clients, that can make you stand out. But I always think of like firm marketing, local level, state level, national, and then like international. And it's dependent upon where people want their practice to go. Because for some people, they're like, I want it all, and I don't care if I'm serving, construction companies all across the country. Whereas some people are like, no, I actually do want to go out and like see these construction sites, and I don't want to get that big. So I think it's just dependent on what the goal is.
Thank you. Yeah, I see we have a lot of questions about actual tools. I think people are eager to, start, and this is by design. Like,
Yep.
whenever something is exciting, we want it, like we want to jump and start, like, okay, what do we need tomorrow? Give me a list.
So, yeah, for
So
sure.
I think, like, so two questions refer to a CRM, if there's a free CRM or something like that. So I want to, take the opportunity to invite people to use us for free. What we've built is, it doesn't cost money, and you can use it without, there's no credit cards. You don't need to pay us anything. Just use the system to map clients, do the proposals there. You don't pay anything for it. You only pay, when you get paid. So feel free to completely use it. And then, if you outgrow it and you want, like, something really robust, you can definitely use HubSpot, which is free as well. But then you get possibly entangled with, like, it's too much. So if people are looking for a simplified CRM, we invite you over to just use it and, take advantage of this. Apart from that, I think in terms of there's other questions revolving around, okay, I'm trying to go, again, deeper into tax representation and CFO services. And how do I make that transition effectively in terms of marketing? How do I attract a client while doing that transition? So it's not necessarily the same clientele, potentially, yes, but how would you advise them to go about that?
So I would say, still in like this day and age, even like with AI and ChatGPT, really good quality content is a golden key for that. Because, and I'm not saying that you don't use ChatGPT or whatever, but I do want to call out a few things about that, because I think it's not being communicated well in the profession about some of the ramifications of using it. So one would be, it may not be accurate. So you definitely want to fact check anything that you're getting from ChatGPT. Like if you have an assistant who's writing blogs or something like that, and they're using ChatGPT, I think the database that it's pulling from is going up to 2021 now. So anything that you're getting that's supposed to be 2023, tax law or something like that, it's probably not accurate. There was actually a medical school professor who tried writing a medical journal using Chat GPT, and it came up with all of the citations and everything, and like most of them didn't exist. So you need to like, just fact check. From a compliance perspective, I listened to something from Harvard Law School the other day, and it actually, said that there's like legal ramifications of providing advice. And, if you have your circular disclaimer on any of your content, that's one thing, but giving people advice based on something out of Chat GPT does open you up to some legal, exposure, just because you're like using something, and especially if you're not fact checking it, and then there's copyright. So even like in Chat GPT, their usage guidelines, if you go and look at them, says that you have to say that it was sourced by Chat GPT or whatever other AI that you're using. That being said,
Yeah.
sorry, I had to do that because it's like the floodgates have opened for utilizing it, and
Everybody else, like
especially,
everybody listening saying, but everyone else is using it. Why shouldn't, why should I be the responsible adult while everybody else are running with scissors and, no one's being punished for anything? Still the Wild West period of new technology until regulation really kicks in. So there's not like solid regulation yet, or am I mistaken?
I disagree, because I think it's the reputation of your firm. And so again, like all day long, like we work with accounting firms, we spend a lot of time making sure that the content is correct, because that's your license on the line.
Oh, no, saying giving wrong information, big no. And I think like this is potentially not something that I would use ChatGPT, but for a lot of the marketing communication, a lot of the brainstorming aspect of it. And I think
definitely
the professional part, I think a lot of the audience potentially will feel more comfortable with versus the marketing materials. And I think that is ChatGPT or any, Jasper AI or Copy AI. These tools are, especially in the, day and age that there is lack of employees. I think this could be a really nice, good extra employee that doesn't really complain much.
There you go. No, and I don't disagree, but from a marketing perspective, I guess the way that I'm thinking about content is to utilize it for SEO to answer like those specific questions that then when somebody's searching, S Corp, reasonable comp calculation, and you have that kind of information on your website, that's what's going to help you rank higher in Google. If I have a potential client who is an LLC and they're looking to become an S Corp, and what are the tax ramifications of that, I could have some really nice content around that. That's marketing. I mean, we think about branding is, this is my firm logo, and this is the colors, and this is, all of the icing on the cake. But what's super effective is, and it goes back to what we talked about a little while ago about being a thought leader, a subject matter expert. When I'm searching online, and 70% of B2B buyers are looking online first, and that includes people looking for accounting services, at least 70%, it's probably like 99% now. They're depending on whether it's Chat GPT now, they're looking at Google, trying to find that information. That's where you want your firm to show up. So that's why, to me, having really good technical content that is in the layperson's terminology really can be your secret sauce. And it's not all like flash and dazzle out there. It's being consistent over time. And if you've got a website, having the blog, if you have a YouTube channel, which again, it can sound overwhelming, but if we have a plan and we just say every week I'm going to do 2 or 3 things towards my marketing, over time, that really adds up, and that creates the credibility.
I completely agree. And while you're talking, my head is spinning, and I'm trying to systemize everything that we're talking about. And Talia said, okay, you have 15 minutes left, and I'm trying to let people off this session with something that is a bit precise. So you talked about, we began from literally saying just know what you want, and I think that this is something that I would not take lightly. I would put in the time to answer that. Building a website, and so that you safeguard yourself from future changes, from Facebook, TikTok changes. And I've owned 6 different companies across my life. I'm an entrepreneur, sold a few, and everything that we saw, and when we did the SWOT analysis, is are we dependent on Google, for reach? Because they changed the regulation, they changed compliance. All of a sudden, what you're doing is no longer, allowed even, or relevant, and it kills companies. So in a SWOT analysis, we really wanted to really diversify, and as you said, own our audience, have uninterfered ability to communicate them without anyone dictating to us what we're allowed to and not. And Facebook, I think, is a good example, because back in the day, you would have a community, or have a group, or have even your own friends. Right now on Facebook, if you try to even write something, it doesn't reach your friends. You need to pay Facebook for it to expand the reach to your own friends if you invite them to a birthday party. So I think having that autonomy really will pay off. So building a website and then filling it with good quality content. The risky stuff, no ChatGPT yet.
Well, I just want to interject, actually, because we're looking for takeaways, and how can we put all this together? That is why, and I'm not trying to plug my book here, but that is why I wrote the book, The Market
Let's talk
Ownership
about that.
Method.
I'm sorry, we dove into stuff, and possibly this is the most important thing.
Well, no, it's important for 2 reasons. One, because anybody who's on this call, happy to send the digital version to you. And the market ownership method, I literally started writing it in 2017. And the reason why you're probably saying, 2017 marketing book, was because I wanted to get everything out of my brain into this book, give you the template for the strategy piece, because if you have really good strategy, it's the tactics that are going to change. And then I partnered with Sonia Dumas, and she does a lot of lead generation, really specific sales content. So we decided to join forces, create this book together, and it's called The Market Ownership Method. 7 proven principles, 1 profitable plan, so that people can just take it, read it. It's pretty easy read. We tried to make it that way, and use it as your marketing plan and guidebook. That is the whole reason why we created the book.
So even so much better than what I wanted to give you guys. So thank you for that. And, I think we're going to have, we're inviting people to have an one-on-one session if you're coming to Scaling New Heights. So we're going to send out a link that you can actually enroll to, try and book time with Gaynor one-on-one, and then discuss your own business. And apart from that, signing up, we're gifting, I think one of the best gifts we can give is your book to the people that are going to sign up. So we got so into it, I actually wrote so many questions about the book, and now we're out of time. So I think we will have to even do this again. But if from the book, what would you highlight the most, that you feel that this is a good nugget for people to take?
Oh man, that's know who you want to serve, understand what their pain is, create the solution to solve it, and then tell them how you've solved it for other people like them. That is marketing. And I know, obviously with Anchor, we talked a little bit about this before the webinar. I mean, I've been using Anchor, and, obviously not an accounting firm, but I've also, I understand the flow of it's a business thing. We want to bring the marketing, bring people in through the marketing, be able to give them like a very systematized product offering, which you can put in Anchor, do all of the, engagements through that, and then make it really easy for people to pay you. And that's your customer experience, right? And that's super important for marketing, because we can go out, tell people how wonderful our firm is, we're experts, all of that. But when the rubber meets the road and it gets stuck because A, I can't send a proposal, B, they can't access it, it's like a Word document that got lost in my email, and then they can't pay you, like that is bad for business, right? So that's, part of, I guess the circle that I would ask people to think about is, what is your customer experience? And if you're, again, trying to help people with what you do, you'll want that to be frictionless as well. So, really it's loving who you're serving enough to provide them with the solutions and the systems and everything that will make them successful. And that's, in a nutshell, if you can do that well and people learn about it from like different channels and different means, I think everybody's going to win.
I think that goes a long way, regardless of what you do, making it easier and, dare I say, fun to work with you. So, sometimes what we're seeing, we're automating AR for accountants, and we're actually automating the AP for their clients. So in fact, when we're normally sending an invoice, we're sending our clients to work because they need to do it manually, they need to verify, and then we ask questions of, okay, why are the payment late? Like, why is that happening? And it goes around when you're, doing marketing. I think it's the same. If you're making yourself less accessible, whether it's the information about your business or, ways to contact you, or, like places to contact you, it makes it just harder and you're less approachable. I know that a lot of firm owners try to like create this wall for, their personal email or their personal phone number and their personal Facebook to just, guide them and safeguard their time. And at the end of the day, it has pluses and minuses. So you need to understand, like, if you're playing this game, I feel that it's you should definitely set, very rigid rules about your time, but at least have the accessibility to your clients or potential clients to, welcome them in.
No, I agree. It's it is a balance, because I think especially in the accounting profession, people are such givers. They love to give their expertise and give their time, but you also need to be compensated for it and not burn yourself out. So it's, it really is a balance. But I do think, again, it took me a while too in my business to get all the systems in place so that it was a lot smoother ride for my clients, because you start one place and then you want to get to another. And so, when you can put tools in place that will help you be more professional and help your clients do business with you easier, like that's a whole part of marketing that needs to be considered too.
And what is, like a good business advice that you got, like, or the best one that you got that you would like to share with us?
That's actually a really interesting question, because it's really succinct, and I heard it actually on I don't know if anybody listens to Donald Miller's Business Made Simple podcast. He wrote the like Story Brand books and Business Made Simple, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, but the one piece of advice that I heard recently, which I thought was awesome, is don't be a liability to your business. And whether that's financial, like don't, every time you get paid a little bit more, like you're expanding your expenses. And I know I'm talking to accounting firms here, but you know, it's human nature sometimes. And also, I think it's what we sort of touched on too, is, you know, you want to be accessible to your clients, but not to the detriment of your business. And I think a lot of people who, you know, who want to serve people struggle with that. I know I do. It's like, I love people and I want to help everybody I can. But you have to learn the balance. So yeah, don't be a liability to your own business.
I think that's brilliant. It gets
I do
me.
too. I was like, yes, that's like,
Um, right now, I've broken my foot, so I'm thinking, I'm hopping around the house, and I'm thinking, am I a liability, or like what kind of things I'm doing in the house? Maybe I should remove myself. But for a business, I think it's it really, you need to be very honest with yourself to answer this properly, because a lot of times I think what we're seeing as a tech company is that people are sometimes afraid for making shifts, and it really, really keeps the business, like from evolving. It keeps them from actually working less, from generating more revenue faster, and it's mainly fears. But I think like if someone's asking themselves how they can remove themselves from being that limitation, it's really strong.
yeah, actually somebody had a question about outsourcing staff, and from a branding or communications marketing perspective, I've seen some of my clients do that, and I actually think it's becoming more accepted that we're operating in a global world, and as long as it fits into what your client service model is. And for example, I've got a couple of firms where they're outsourcing, some of their staff from like Philippines or somewhere like that. They're not going to have those people answer like client calls if they can't speak English well. But if they can like do like a lot of really efficient bookkeeping and accounting, then they could have team members who are from the US already choosing to live in Panama or somewhere like that. So I think people are becoming more accepting. And if you're presenting your services as like a package of, deliverables, I don't think it really matters as much where that talent is coming from.
I would definitely agree. I think you need to, the challenge is learning how to manage it effectively, and, in the communication, bridging the cultural differences that you say yellow, they say yellow, but you're talking about the different thing. So I think that once you have an alignment of other aspect, it makes it a lot smoother.
And Charlie is telling us we have to wrap it up.
But I have one, one last.
Ask it.
And right now, there's people that really are, I think the people that are listening to this are really eager to, they're striving to make something better in their business. And what would be, I'll ask it on negative, what would be the best thing they need to avoid when they're starting? Like there's we're always asking what they should do, but sometimes it's actually good to understand what they shouldn't do.
I think it is exactly that. Don't do too much. Pick like the 3 things that can bring the most value, which to me, again, we talked about a plan, we talked about a website, and some kind of lead capturing mechanism, and a email drip campaign. I know it's really basic, but like those are proven tactics that work. And so if we just start with that, make it really awesome, and then add more, that's way more effective than like throwing spaghetti against the wall and spending money on 10 things, none of which work, and then you're just throwing money away.
So don't do that.
Don't
Keep
do that.
invest in yourself and in your business. Gaynor, thank you so much. It's been fascinating. I can do this for hours, and just talking. I want to dive into the book, but I think we need another hour for that. I hope people listening got value from this. And what we'll do is we'll send you the links to the possibility of signing up and meeting Gaynor one-on-one. So there's very limited space for that. So please, it's hurry up with that, because it's already, I think, like almost at capacity. And definitely, we're bringing the book. Will you be signing the book as well? Will people be able to meet you in person?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always available to talk to. I love talking with accounting professionals. You can visit us at Charisma Inc. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on social, and yeah, I'm here to help you. So tap into me, please, and make sure you check out Anchor.
All right, thank you so much for that, and thank you everybody for listening. And we'll send the recording as well, so you can watch it again if you need to. All the
Thank
best.
you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Omri. Thank you, Talia.